In March 2015, Parliament passed a law that gave UK voters something they'd never had before: the power to sack their MP between elections. In the decade since, 6 recall petitions have been triggered. 4 MPs were removed by their own constituents, 1 survived by a fraction of a percent, 1 resigned before the count, and at least 4 more walked before a petition could even open. Today I'm breaking down how recall petitions actually work and whether they've done their job. Before 2015, there was no mechanism for voters to remove an MP between general elections. The only automatic trigger was a prison sentence of more than 1 year, which disqualifies an MP outright under the Representation of the People Act 1981. For anything short of that, even serious misconduct, an MP could only be pressured to resign. They couldn't be forced out. The 2009 expensive scandal changed the conversation. MPs were resigning after criminal convictions, but only because they chose to. The 2010 coalition agreement between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats committed to introducing a proper recall mechanism. The Recall of MPs Act was introduced by Liberal Democrat leader Nick Clegg in 2014 and took effect in 2016. But here's the key thing: UK voters still cannot initiate a recall themselves. The Speaker of the House of Commons triggers it, and only in 3 specific circumstances. Think of these as 3 doors that open the recall process. Door 1, a custodial sentence, even a suspended sentence. If an MP is convicted of a crime and receives any custodial term, the Speaker must trigger a petition. If the sentence is longer than a year, the MP is automatically disqualified anyway. Door 2, a conviction for making false or misleading expenses claims. Door 3, suspension from the House of Commons for at least 10 sitting days or 14 calendar days. If none of these 3 conditions are met, no recall petition can happen, regardless of how angry constituents are. That's it. If your MP is simply absent, ineffective, or voting against your wishes, there's no recall mechanism. Parliament deliberately designed it that way. Once one of those 3 triggers is activated, the Speaker informs the petitions officer for the MP's constituency, usually the returning officer who runs local elections. They then have 10 working days to open the petition. The petition runs for 6 weeks. Voters can sign in person at up to 10 designated signing locations, similar to polling stations, or apply to sign by post or proxy. There's no running tally during the 6 weeks. Nobody knows if the threshold has been met until the petition closes and the count takes place. The threshold is 10% of eligible registered voters in the constituency. If it's met, the seat becomes vacant and a by-election is called. The recalled MP is allowed to stand as a candidate in that by-election, and at least one has tried. If the 10% threshold isn't reached, the MP keeps their seat. If the MP resigns during the petition period, the petition is terminated. And if a general election is called, the petition stops. The voters get their say at the ballot box instead. So, 6 petitions. Here's the scorecard. North Antrim 2018, Ian Paisley Jr., undeclared luxury holidays, failed at 9.4%. Peterborough 2019, Fiona Anasanya, perverting the course of justice, first success, 27% signed. Brecon and Radnorshire 2019, Chris Davis, false expenses, succeeded, he restood and lost. Rutherglen and Hamilton West 2023, Margaret Ferrier, COVID breach, succeeded. Wellingborough 2023, Peter Bone, bullying and sexual harassment, succeeded. Blackpool South 2024, Scott Benton, caught offering to lobby ministers for cash, resigned mid-petition. And beyond the petitions themselves, Owen Patterson, Christian Matheson, Chris Pincher and Boris Johnson all resigned before a petition could open. The threat alone was enough, including against a former Prime Minister facing a 90-day suspension recommendation for misleading Parliament over Partygate. So has the Recall of MPs Act done its job? When the Act was debated, critics called it weak, triggers too narrow, threshold too high. Yet in practice, 4 MPs have been directly removed and 4 more resigned preemptively rather than face a petition. That simply didn't happen before 2015. The gap that remains? Voters still can't start the process. It only activates when the Speaker is compelled to act. If your MP is absent, lazy or ignoring you, recall can't touch them. That's the debate that isn't going away. If you've enjoyed this explainer, please like, subscribe and let me know in the comments should voters be able to trigger recall petitions directly. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.